Narcissists have a destructive impact on everything they encounter in their lives. They approach situations differently, lack the ability to reflect on themselves like you do, and do not hold themselves accountable like you might. Instead of personal growth, they prefer to exploit others, drain them of resources, discard them when they are no longer useful, and move on to the next target. Keep in mind that the narcissist likely fled from a previous relationship to seek refuge in your companionship. Once they have obtained what they desired from you, they will move on to someone else who may lack knowledge, insight, or may even be a toxic narcissist themselves. They are aware that their mental state confines them, that their anxiety-ridden existence is a trap, and that they constantly shift their personas. They acknowledge that they wear masks to control people, and at times they recognize their own insincerity. Their desire to feel superior to others stems from this realization. They never thought you would realize their true nature. They underestimated your intelligence and ability to research, just as they had done when the relationship began. Think back to when you first met the narcissist. They were likely assessing you, trying to understand your motivations, assets, dreams, and relationships. They wanted to profile you. One day, they decided that you would be their next source of fuel. They planned to use you as their engine, whether it be for a short period or a long one. Their intention was to get close to you or become their friend. However, they had ulterior motives. They wanted to manipulate, abuse, and deceive you while hiding behind a false facade. They were aware that your well-being and resources would suffer as long as you were with them, as they had done this before. Eventually, their resources would run out, and they would move on to another source of fuel. If you ever tried to leave, they believed you would never recover. The narcissist didn't anticipate your recovery, your comprehension of narcissism, your commitment to radical acceptance, and your realization of your own abundance, beauty, and inner light. The narcissist deceived, ensnared, and controlled you into believing you couldn't survive without them. This is known as the trauma bond. You were constantly manipulated, pushed away, and then pulled back in. It felt like an emotional roller coaster because you were always destabilized. You were never able to find your footing. Each interaction with a narcissist, whether by phone call, text, or email, left you uncertain of what to expect. There was no stability. The narcissist purposely kept you off balance to reestablish the trauma bond. The narcissist was consuming you. Things went awry both day and night. They devalued you for simply sharing your activities and plans. You were seen as an unpaid assistant, a constant source of apologies, and an endless list of tasks. You were stuck in a cycle of narcissistic manipulation or trauma bonding, consistently reporting back to the narcissist. You were deliberately kept in the dark, placed in that position intentionally. Your devaluation only increased once you were in that role. The narcissist grew disinterested and tired of you. You were ensnared, becoming the target of their pursuit, capture, and manipulation. The days of being seen as a mere possession by narcissists are over. They would treat you like a doll or a prize item, using you at their whim and discarding you back on the shelf. This behavior led to their disappearing acts for hours, days, or even entire weekends in relationships. During these absences, they were likely seeking out new sources of attention or validation from others. These sources could range from friends, social groups, travel, possessions, or any other means of gratification. Narcissistic supply typically involves romantic partners or friends, but it could also extend to family members or siblings. However, the narcissist never anticipated that you would gather your strength, educate yourself about narcissism, understand its impact on you, and prioritize your own well-being. Whether you were discarded or ended the relationship yourself, my sympathies are with you for enduring a toxic connection for so long. Experiencing the abusive cycle of a narcissist is a challenge that not everyone faces, but you have overcome it. Number 1, finding that needle in the haystack is crucial, just like one pine needle among many behind me on the trees or ground. Discovering that one needle in the haystack can unlock your future and free you from a toxic, narcissistic relationship. The narcissist never wanted to be understood or for you to heal. They didn't want you to have a breakthrough or realize that toxic narcissists are not who they claim to be. They abuse people, hide behind masks, and keep them in a trance. But you escaped. You are healing, learning, growing, and possibly teaching others. You are awakening, learning, and empowered. You know that you come first, second, and third, not the narcissist. The narcissist deceived and trapped you, but you have broken free. Now understand that your narcissist never wanted closure. They cannot provide closure because they refuse to introspect, be accountable, or take blame. They believe they are always right and never make mistakes. But like everyone else, the narcissist makes mistakes every day. Narcissists struggle to admit their mistakes due to their limited cognitive capacity. This behavior perpetuates their abusive patterns. Narcissists remain the consistent element in this cycle, fully aware of it. Their aim is to deceive and manipulate individuals for personal gain, only to discard them like disposable items once their purpose is served. Consequently, narcissists have few enduring friendships or relationships. The offspring of narcissists often distance themselves as they recognize the mistreatment they endured. They reject manipulation and grow weary of the constant victim narrative. Despite these challenges, they manage to heal and move on, acknowledging the toxicity of the past relationship. Narcissists consistently fail in relationships, both past and present, driven by an insatiable hunger for attention, material possessions, and new conquests. They know they can never be satisfied, and you do too. The narcissist never thought you would heal. The answer is that you weren't expected to survive that relationship. They believed you would never be strong enough to repair yourself. They didn't think you could tell who they were. They didn't think you would survive alone after discard during a pandemic, multiple surgeries, a mountain of credit card debt, no car, and inability to function due to isolation. Because the narcissists used the smear campaign, and your support network exploded without anyone checking on you. Nobody said, "Hey, how you doing? Do you want to grab a coffee and discuss?" That happened to me and many others. This is why narcissists act so easily. They slither away at night or vanish quickly. Why? Because they took what they could. They refused to sit down, drink coffee, reflect, and be accountable. They can't because their weak brains prevent it. They're childlike because of that. So, they're stuck in their own misery and wanted to keep you there too.